You are all familiar with the real number system which we denote by R. We also know that if we know two sets A and B, we can consider the Cartesian product A cross B, which contains all pairs A, B, such that A is an element in capital A and B is an element in capital B. Therefore, we can take A and B to be the set of real numbers and consider the set R cross R. This R cross R is often denoted as R2 and it contains elements of the form x, y such that x belongs to R and y belongs to R. Similarly, as soon as we have R2, we can consider R2 cross R. What will this set contain? This set contains the set of all A, Z such that A belongs to R2 and Z belongs to R. Now we know that a point A in R2 can be represented using two numbers x and y. So we can rewrite this as follows. Now x, y, z are real numbers. So we can rewrite in this manner. Notice that if instead you had taken R cross R2, then you would get x, A such that x belongs to R and A belongs to R2. So this can be written as set of all x, y, z, where x, y, z belongs to R. Now to begin with, these two objects, that is R2 cross R and R cross R2, look very different from each other. But there is a natural map between these two spaces, namely the map that takes x, y, z to the point x, y, z. And this kind of preserves every property that we would ever want it to preserve. And in this sense, we want to say that R2 cross R is same as R cross R2. Now it's okay if you do not fully understand this, okay, because we will revisit similar ideas throughout the course and such things will become more and more clear as you go through this course. But for now, you just keep it in mind that we do not distinguish R2 cross R and R cross R2, and we will denote both these by the same symbol R3. Let us repeat. We treat R cross R2 and R2 cross R as same and we call these to be equal to R3. And this contains triples x, y, z, where x, y and z belong to R. Now, similarly, as soon as we have R2 and R3, we can consider R2 cross R2 or R cross R3 or R3 cross R. Once again, we will identify all these three objects and denote them as R4. But let's go through this a little slowly and explore what exactly these three objects actually stand for. R2 cross R2 stands for A, B such that A, B both belongs to R2. Correct? But this can be rewritten as tuples x, y, z, w. So there are two tuples x, y and z, w, and it's the pair of these such that x, y, z, w belongs to R. Similarly, R cross R3 contains pairs A, B, where A belongs to R and B belongs to R3. Therefore, this can be rewritten as the set that contains x, comma, y, z, w. Once again, all numbers x, y, z and w are all real numbers, and I'm not going to write this. And finally, R3 cross R contains all pairs A, B such that A belongs to R3 and B belongs to R. And that can be denoted as x, y, z, w. Once again, the numbers x, y, z and w are real numbers, but I am not going to write that specifically. So this is the way in which you should actually look at the three sets R2 cross R2, R cross R3 and R3 cross R. But we will identify these three sets and call it R4. And convenience, we will often denote R4 as the set of all x, y, z, w such that x, y, z and w are in R. Now we should treat the discussion that we saw just now as a form of associativity. What was associativity? We saw associativity for addition and multiplication. For addition, associativity meant that A plus B plus C is equal to A plus B plus C. Similarly, for multiplication, A into B into C is equal to A into B into C. And this said that the order in which we did these operations does not matter. And here what we saw was something very similar. We had two objects. The first object was R cross R, which was equal to R2. And we saw that that is equal to R cross R cross R. Once again, this was equal to R2. So when we said that R cross R2 is equal to R2 cross R, we were saying that in some sense we have an associativity for Cartesian product. And in what sense do we have the associativity? That is what I said earlier. There is a natural map which relates these two objects. Now you would have seen that as soon as we have associativity, even when we have to add 5 numbers, say a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus a4 plus a5, associativity implies that it doesn't matter in which order we carry these operations. We can first add a1 plus a2, then add a3 to it, then add a4 to it, and then add a5 to it. Or first add a2 and a3, then add a4 to it, then add a1 to it, and then add a5 to it, and so on. So the order in which you carry these operations does not matter. And we are saying that something similar holds true even for the Cartesian product. So in some sense, this is some form of associativity that we have. In this manner, we can define Rn for all natural numbers n. So to begin with, we can think of Rn as say R cross Rn minus 1. So we inductively define Rn. As soon as we know Rn minus 1, we can also define Rn as Rn is equal to R cross Rn minus 1. But we saw that this is also equal to R2 cross Rn minus 2 or R3 cross Rn minus 3, etc. In general, Rn is equal to Rk cross Rn minus k. So Rn is equal to any of these. And we will denote this set Rn as the set of all x1, x2, x3, etc. up to xn, such that all these xi are real numbers. Now this notation x1, x2, x3, etc. up to xn is called an n tuple. where the n stands for the number of elements that we have. So Rn is a collection of n tuples where each element in the tuple is a real number. And we will call these spaces Rn as Euclidean spaces. And that is where the title of this video comes from. As of now, this Rn is just a set. It just contains some elements. But we can use the extra structure of real numbers, basically that we can add two real numbers and multiply two real numbers to give some extra structure for Rn. For instance, if you have two elements, say x1, x2, etc. up to xn, and y1, y2, etc. up to yn, then we can add these two elements. What is the sum of those two elements? You just do coordinate wise addition. That means we take x1 plus y1, x2 plus y2, comma, etc. up to xn plus yn. And this we treat as the sum of the two elements x1, x2, etc. up to xn and y1, y2, etc. up to yn. Now we cannot multiply two elements in Rn, but we can multiply an element of Rn by an element in R. More precisely, we can look at the quantity alpha times x1, x2, etc. up to xn, and that is defined to be equal to alpha times x1, alpha times x2, etc. up to alpha times xn. So in this way, we can add two elements that belong to Rn, and we can multiply an element in Rn by an element in R. This is called scalar multiplication. So we can add two elements and we can do scalar multiplication. And this gives a rich structure to the space Rn. Let us try to understand this better using an example. Of course, we will just do one example and you are encouraged to play with many more examples. So let us take n equal to 2, that is, let us look at the space R2 and let us consider two elements in this space R2, namely the elements 1, 2 and the element 5, 3. So how would you add these two elements? You add these to get 1 plus 5, 2 plus 3. Which is equal to 6, 5. So this is the addition of the two elements 1, 2 and 5, 3. Now let us multiply the element 5, 3 with a number, say square root of 2. When you multiply, you will get 5 root 2, 3 root 2. And this way you play with many more examples and try to get a better understanding of this concept. This extra structure of Rn is very useful and we will keep revisiting this throughout the course.